You guys have had so many interesting seasons to your lives, but a very fun season is beginning in your lives.
Yes.
Say that. Yeah. Yeah.
You are becoming grandparents for the first time.
Yes. In September.
And how does that shape your perspective of your roles now in the world?
It changes everything.
It changes everything.
You filter all of your life now through this new role, this new responsibility, this new opportunity, a new life. Literally, life goes on. Thank you, Jesus.
Yes. And shopping and
picking your name.
Well, which is part of the hope. It's part of the prep of delighting and knowing that somebody's going to call you something enduring.
Right.
Yes.
Nana, Grandma, Noni, whatever it ends up being.
It is. Yeah. I'll take whatever. Whatever they call me, I'll say yes and amen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
New life.
You remember that Craig desperately wanted to train his grandchildren to call him Captain.
Yes.
And they ended up naming him
Boo.
Yes.
Yes.
That's where I'm going.
Yeah.
I'm going to end up with some accidental name that I'll love.
I actually I was agendaing for Kemosabe.
Oh, yeah.
But then we realized it would end up being Abi or Sabi so.
3 syllables is a lot.
Welcome back to the Wild at Heart podcast. You are listening to Brad and Lisa Beck, who are with us for the conclusion of the series in the 6 parts that we've been doing here and the 6 parts that are kind of tracking along with the Wild at Heart and the captivating experiences. Sadly, dear Stacy is not with us today. Mm-hmm. She had another commitment that she couldn't get out of, and this was the morning we had to record with everybody's calendars. So missing Stacy, but delighted to have you guys here. Thanks for coming in and sharing your experiences and your life story with us.
Thanks for having us.
Well, we'll see.
Exactly.
The jury's out.
Which is what everyone says when they come into this studio. We'll see.
We'll see.
So, listeners, I know you're not all doing the captivating experience, Wild at Heart experience, and we're trying to make these conversations interesting to everyone who's, wherever you are, whatever your stage of life is, all that. And I think you'll find today's equally interesting as the previous have been. If you are tracking along, there are 6 sessions to the Wild at Heart experience, and the last one for men is an adventure.
Adventure to live.
Adventure to live.
Yes.
And the last session for the women's series is irreplaceable.
Irreplaceable role.
Yeah, that a woman wants, needs, is created for meaning, purpose, and feeling like she has an irreplaceable role in the story. And I thought it was interesting when John and Amy Dale were in here last week for week 5. Towards the end of the conversation, Amy put words again to that thing of, we had asked, what would you love Jesus to say to you? And she said, that my life has meaning. Now, we were talking about beauty and bringing beauty to the world and all the different ways that men and women do that, but it was meaning.
The underlying dream.
Right, there it is. Yes. I thought that was so true to the human heart and kind of tease up today's conversation. So, Lisa, you give the irreplaceable role session at our captivating retreats.
Right.
And when you're standing in front of a group of women talking about meaning and that craving for it, what do you say? That's such a big...
It's a big word. Irreplaceable. It's a big word. And I think most women, most people have trouble believing that it applies to them. They believe a lie that their lives don't matter. So I think the first step is pushing into the truth of that you have a role to play. You have a message that you carry in a unique way through your story that unlocks and carries Jesus where no one else might tread. And the truth of that is so real and so hard to press into. So one of the first things we do is just disarm it by saying, if your enemy is taunting you and saying that doesn't apply to you, that's a lie. That's a lie.
And also, why is he working so hard to convince you of that?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
If it wasn't true, you don't
Mm-hmm.
have a role in God's story.
Right. You don't matter.
You don't matter. You got a bit part,
Yes.
right? You can carry
Yes.
some of the lighting
Minor.
and the cable for other
Mhm.
people that get to be in the story. If that were true, the enemy wouldn't have to work hard.
And he works hard.
Holy cow, does
Yes.
he work hard?
He
To
works
convince
hard.
you otherwise.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, like here's how
Yeah.
hard. Here's how hard. I was fishing with some guys last weekend, and we wanted to make sure we caught a couple photos to just remember the trip together. And then at the end, the guys had texted me a few of the pictures of the river and a campsite, kind of thing, just to hold on to the joy. It was a picture of me standing fishing, and I looked at myself and I went, "Wow, you're really old. I think your days are over."
Whoa.
Yes.
Next sentence.
Yeah, I think your days
Yes.
are over. And just boom, the enemy is right there.
Right there.
Always looking for the diminishment opportunity.
Mhm.
The spin.
No matter how old you are, diminishment
Sure.
opportunity, right?
And then the comparison. Somebody else could say it, do it, be it better.
Yeah.
And then we're drawn to people that are doing it well because they are reflecting a glory of him.
Yeah.
And we look at that and we think, oh yeah, I need to copy that.
Yes.
Or I go to diminishment. I could never do that. So therefore, I don't matter. I don't have a role to play. And so there's so many different tactics that the enemy uses to take women and men, I'm sure,
Yes.
out.
Why is the comparison one so big for women?
You don't think it is for men?
Well,
They don't go to it the same
Well,
way
I've
that women.
counseled a lot of men and
Okay.
women over the years, and I hear the comparison language more
With women.
from women. Guys may not want to admit it,
Mhm.
Right.
but I'm just aware of comparison seems to be a real nasty
Oh, it's nasty.
ploy.
And then what it does is it creates division. And when you create division, your allies are removed from you and you don't have the support. And women do press into and rely on support from one another.
Yeah.
Relationship.
Relationship and comparison destroys. Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you. It destroys that, because you don't want to be vulnerable and say, wow, I'm worried about this, or I'm not good at that, and so we walk around, I think particularly in Christian circles, that I've got this, I know what I'm doing, I'm good. And we don't want to tip our hand at the struggle behind it, what it takes to do whatever it is that
Yes.
your glory,
Yes.
where you shine.
This is the diabolical thing about social media, is
Oh,
that everybody puts their
worst.
best
Their
foot
best.
forward,
Oh, yeah.
right? Here's my amazing trip.
Yes.
Here's my amazing
Yes.
kids. Here's my amazing weekend.
Here's my amazing picture.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everybody puts their best foot forward.
Mhm.
That's understandable. But the problem is it creates a false impression that their life is always like that,
Mhm.
right? It's always great.
Sure.
And then it didn't take much to get there. They just sort of are there.
Mhm.
There's no journey, no process, and the comparison
The
thing, all the data on that's really devastating. Your level of envy rises in exact proportion to the amount of time you spend on social media. Lots of data on that. Also, anxiety and depression.
Right.
Yeah. And so you go, okay, so
Yeah.
there it is. There's the comparison. Other people have worthy lives.
amazing, shiny lives.
Shiny
Yeah.
lives. Yeah.
When the kids were little, Brad and I took them to a photo studio, to have the family photo thing. And the
What
roles
was
of
it? Owen Mills? Wasn't that
no, it wasn't. But
Yeah,
that
it was
kind
that
of
kind of
was
thing,
in
yeah.
day.
back
Yes,
in the
yes.
day. And we probably went through 3, 4 rolls. There were rolls of film,
Yes,
remember
negatives,
the
yes.
negatives, to get one good shot, of the kids not crying or pulling each other's hair
Yes.
or have snot or their dress pulled up or whatever. And when we left, I asked the photographer, can I have all of this? Can I have all of this? Because they're funny and they're a reminder of what it takes, to get
get
the
the one good
shot.
picture.
Yeah.
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 Wasn't funny at the time, but
Yeah.
It was expensive.
now it tells the story.
Yeah. So you guys did the experience. You kind of watched the video and did the exercises and that sort of thing. First pass, like, was there something new that leapt out at you this time? Was there something you went, wow, that's really true?
Yeah, I mean, for me, like your story of when you were in Washington and you were a rising star, White House lunch, and then you were dying inside.
Yes.
That just reminded me of my own career, calling journey. So I'm a physician by training, and we've done some time in the mission field together with YWAM. But when we came back, I was involved in some further medical training, and then had opportunity to work at NASA, work at a medical university. And in my early 40s, I was on my way. I was very successful, headed up a department at a large medical university in Texas, and felt like, well, I was working 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, but
Oof, yeah.
it was, and we had 3 small kids, and it felt like, wow, I'm here, and
I'm killing it. You are the guy.
I'm
right?
going to be a residency director in a year or two in my 40s, and I'm driving across a bridge in Texas that I'll never forget, and God said to me, "Is this all you want?"
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't out loud, but I heard him.
Is this all you want?
Is this all you want? And I argued with him because I had all those things I just said. And it took about 20 miles of Texas highway to get to the point where I said, no, if you want something else, I will do something else. And so,
Could you have named at the time what was missing?
no, not at all. I mean, there wasn't an obvious alternative in front of me. It wasn't
Yes.
like I was offered this other opportunity
Yes.
or anything else right then. I wasn't choosing a fork in the road. I was choosing a road less traveled, actually.
Yes.
And it was a walk with God. It was a journey, an adventure with God. And will you walk with me in this? And so I kind of laid it down. I said, if you don't want this for me or for our family at this time, you show me. I'll be open. And he got pretty quiet and he said, we'll see. And so I don't know if I even told you about that conversation. I know you've heard this story.
Yep.
But 10 months later, had an opportunity for a ministry opportunity, and it was here in Colorado. And asked God, is this it? And he said, maybe. And so I applied and things worked out and we moved here and worked at a large Christian ministry and in a medical role for the ministry. So medical information, medical fellowship, medical outreach. And that was a huge turn. I mean, I had a very comfortable salary in Texas and great friends and great opportunity. And then we move here.
And then the curveball.
And then, yes.
Wow.
The curveball.
The wildness of God.
The wildness.
I remember you describing it because it doesn't make sense on paper.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah.
was, yeah.
It was a kingdom decision, not a career decision.
Right.
And yet you guys in your early years of marriage, there was YWAM and there was the passion for
more.
Mm-hmm. Right? And to somehow join Jesus in his project on the earth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Ministry was a theme from our engagement on. And we thought we might come back to it and had some sort of sense.
In traditional ways.
Yeah, the more traditional, versus the medical thing that I was doing as a physician and a successful one at the time.
Yeah. And we have many close allies, many good friends of the ministry who are fulfilling their partnership with Jesus in their medical roles. So it's not like if you really want, really want to partner with God.
Don't mishear that.
Yeah. You got to move to Colorado and join a Christian ministry.
There are physicians that I know and you know that are killing it in Christian ministry as a physician.
Yeah, they are fulfilling their life in God in that role. So just to kind of clarify that real quick, because I think one of the problems, is we're opening up the conversation of what's my role? What's my place? What's my offering in the world? As I've tried to help people with that over the years as a counselor, they have overlapped job with role, destiny, purpose, calling, right? And therefore, no, you don't understand. If I'm going to fulfill God's place for me, I've got to have this job. Right. I need to be the residency director in 2 years. Right. And that gets really messy because that's just not true. Paul, right, he sewed fabric.
Right.
For,
most of the day.
Well, dawn to dusk.
Yeah.
That's what he was doing, right? Leathers, fabrics, needlework. And then it was evenings and weekends that he is Paul the Apostle, right, in fulfilling his role. So kind of a classic example of just saying, whoa, hang on, gang, don't, as you're thinking about, what is my role in God's kingdom? What is it that he has for me? Don't make the mistake of linking that, sort of inexorably to a job or a title. Right? It'll free you to more find what God's up to if you don't do that. I mean, I was convinced my early years, my undergraduate degrees in theater and my aspirations were to go to the Royal Academy, and I thought that is how I will fulfill God's thing for me. I linked it so closely to a job, a certain kind of occupation, and it was very painful to lose that. And I was really disoriented when that shift in the story took place. Found myself in Washington, D.C., a few years later, and what? And
which is its own theater.
Full
in so many ways.
Drama. Full of drama. Yeah. And then your first pass, just, captivating experience, women need a role. What was, you're so steeped in this message. Was there anything that went ding to you this time?
Are you comfortable with me going into the pain?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you comfortable?
I am it would feel not real to not do it.
Let's go.
Okay. So my first pass at the this particular irreplaceable role session was a punch in my gut and really, really hard for me because I was not part of the filming. And so, I mean, the weaving of God, the weaving, and you can't make this up. So here I am, part of the captivating team, and I'm not in on this filming, and I'm being asked to respond in this podcast to what I have possessively, held on to as my talk. This is my talk. Come on. And and not just that it's my talk, but I'm passionate about people knowing they have a role, women knowing that they matter. And and so there I'm sitting there and I'm watching the other women do the film and I'm thinking, I don't matter, I don't matter. And wrestling with God about what is this about, Jesus? What are you
Yes.
saying?
Yeah.
So I had to go back and really sit in his word. So I have questions that I ask him. What is true? What is true about me and you? And one of my favorite questions in exchanges with Jesus is, whose story is this, Jesus? And am I partnering with my enemy, which would be a lie? Am I partnering with a lie?
With diminishment.
With diminishment, comparison.
Yes. Okay.
All of that.
Okay.
Make the list. I mean, it's long.
Okay.
Or am I partnering with you? And I believe that our roles and what matters in our life is our story, our journey with him. And this becomes part of my journey with him. This is painful for me to watch this and not be part of it, to kind of be external. Does that take me out? Does that mean I quit? I'm not doing this. They obviously don't want me anymore. My voice doesn't matter. I'm too old. I'm too whatever. The list.
Something.
I'm too something or
Yes.
not enough of
Enough.
something else. The list goes both ways. And so it was really, really, it took me to Jesus of what is true. What is true about my life, my story, my weaving with you is what I say in the talks. It's not about a job. It's not about being seen and known. It's about carrying Jesus, carrying your story into any situation. And then I have a little add on in that I always want my enemy exposed. I want my enemy's butt on a platter to be served up to the throne for truth.
Yeah.
And so my enemy, especially yesterday, I cried, I pouted, I pitched a fit, and then grieved whatever, that loss of not being part of the filming, and then took it to God for redemption, for restoration, for truth, and to have my enemy's butt on a platter.
Yeah.
Can I say that?
Yep. What did he say? What did Jesus say?
So he says, how he's really great, he's really amazing. And so I had the opportunity to see this is what we face as women. We face a barrage of lies, and it looks true, and it's not. So if I can't go back to him on a relational, truthful level and hear him call my name. So if I never teach or step on a stage or do a podcast again, does not change my belovedness. It
Mhm.
doesn't change anything.
You have said so many important things I need to go back now and unpack, but let's start with that one. It doesn't change our belovedness.
Mhm.
We learn as children what is rewarded and what is not,
Mhm.
what will bring praise and what will bring shame. And from that place, we form a trajectory
Right.
that has energy and momentum and fear and desire all mixed up into it because it feels like belovedness is absolutely connected to whether we get the promotion, whether we are the residency director, whether we are on the speaking team next time. By the way, we didn't kick Lisa off the team. There's a whole story behind this, but she is giving the irreplaceable role talk at the next retreat.
We have it on tape, right?
There it is. There it is. We have it on record.
Yeah.
But the search for belovedness,
Mm,
oh golly, and how that can really complicate partnering with Jesus in our role in the world, because those aren't the same thing. They're not the same
they're
thing.
not.
We come from belovedness into the different projects, people, relationships, communities that he has for us, but we're coming from belovedness,
Mhm.
not in order to find belovedness,
It's not a performance.
right?
But it's so countercultural.
Mm.
It's really hard to swim upstream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially when your friends don't invite you to be a part of the film project and you're like, what
There-
the hell?
there's
I
that.
don't get that. And
And we don't always get to know,
right.
what happened, what is going on.
Mhm.
But we do get to know that in his hands, he weaves good.
Yes.
He weaves good.
Yes.
So today, I sit in such, I could cry, a place of belovedness
Mm.
for no good reason,
Mhm. Yeah. Knowing that you have a role in
Yeah.
God's story.
Mhm.
That is not dependent on the things that I think
Yes.
are important or
Yeah.
matter.
Yeah. Okay. So let me go back to something
Okay.
else you said, which was the most important thing we bring is our story with God,
Mhm.
that we bring the Jesus we know into the situations we find ourselves in.
Yes.
Did I get that right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Because your story is unique and it's between you and him.
Yes.
And the redemption, the restoration, all of the healing. And so when you meet somebody or when you're in any given situation, you're not spilling all of that out, but you're carrying that. You're carrying that story with him into a situation with all the wisdom, all the glory, all the
Passion.
passion,
The gifting.
all the knowing,
Yeah.
all the Jesus. And that matters.
Mm.
That matters. And we're really, that's not a topic we're taught, in school or
No.
often not from the pulpit, that your story is not something we hide and shame. I'm not proud of my reaction yesterday. It was messy and a bit immature, but it was real. And God stepped into it and he
Mhm.
met me. And it's powerful to me
Yes.
right now.
Yes, it is.
Mhm.
Yeah. And you're speaking from it
Yes.
today.
Yes. So I partner with him instead of with
Yes.
my enemy's taunting of yesterday.
Mm. Mm. That is
That's
really
really good.
it's really
That's-
good. It's holy cow, because the enemy, his blows are not incidental. They can feel very devastating. Stacy and I had this theater company that we adored, and we had this group of friends that we adored, and this community, and it all blew up around some betrayals against us. And, I need to be confessional that I was having an affair with my career,
Mm.
and theater is a jealous mistress, and it wants everything, and it was really hurting our marriage. And Jesus made it very clear, you are damaging your marriage by pursuing belovedness,
Mhm.
because you're getting praised here. You're
Yes.
killing it
Yes.
over
Right.
here. And
Yes.
so we
And
had to
you're
give
like-
all that up. And that's a story for another day, but it was devastating. And I didn't see the story of God, immediately in it. It wasn't like it was super clear. And Jesus speaks to you on the bridge. And then you said it was 9-10 months later
Oh yeah.
that the next thing comes. It's not this instantaneous clarity
Right.
or direction even.
It's a journey. I mean, it's a pathway that Jesus is taking each one of us on, and we get some signposts along the way. We learn a little bit more, and becomes a
Yes.
little clearer. And like my willingness to leave medicine, became more real in the months after hearing the voice of God, like, and being more open. I wasn't very open that day, but a few months later, I was, I'm more open. I'm more teachable. I'm looking for what God has next. Yeah.
And in this conversation, we've jumped into the deep end of the pool because there are adventures
Hmm.
that simply nourish the soul. There are opportunities and things that come our way. They're just for joy. But what we've jumped into is, as we mature in our life and in our friendship with Jesus, he really does call us into partnership with him. That's the deep stuff.
Mhm.
That's over the course of the years, as I've looked at your lives, that feels like deeper with
Yes.
Jesus. How are we partnering with you? Is that fair? Is that an accurate?
Yes. And I think as we age, we're quicker to see and trust in making the steps without knowing the whole path,
Right.
knowing that he leads us to good places, albeit hard places sometimes, but
Mm.
the richness that comes from that kind of journey.
Well, and the ability to hear the voice of God for you in that particular situation, and to recognize the voice of the enemy. I mean, you quickly went yesterday to recognize what the enemy was saying to you, whereas it may have taken more time,
Yeah,
years
that's
ago.
true. That's
And
true.
and
It was a day. It wasn't a week or a month and it
and that-
wasn't the whole day, right?
it wasn't. No, it wasn't even the whole day.
Mm. So, what would you say to a woman who is struggling at this point with, do I have a role? Do I have an irreplaceable? Am I irreplaceable in my role and my offering to the world? What would you say to her?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You have a role because you have a journey with him that is unique to you, that is undeniable, that is beautiful in its own right. Your story with Jesus is meant to set captives free. And however that plays out, if that plays out with a pen or a piano or a
Paintbrush.
paintbrush, but however that plays out, It all goes back to the journey with Jesus.
Yes.
Your story, you're partnering with him. And that's accessible. He makes that accessible. He makes that unique is the word that I'm coming back. It's specific to you in a way that it is not specific to anyone else. And that's how you know it's him. And that's like glory right there. That's a gold mine. And so you carry that kind of posture and that kind of heart into a grocery store, into your kids' school, into a nursing home, wherever you journey, you carry that posture of heart.
Yes.
And it changes lives. And you don't even know it a lot of times. How you've had an interaction and then later somebody might say, wow, that thing you said or that smile or the way you picked up my kid, and you don't even realize.
Yes.
But it could have changed their whole day, their whole posture towards spiritual things. We don't know always the impact. But there's this book, All Things New, and we're going to get to see the whole story.
Right.
Yeah.
When everyone's story is
when
told.
everyone's story is
rightly
told.
told.
Yes.
The story is rightly told.
Yes.
Yeah.
What a
And we'll
day.
get to see that.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's really hopeful.
It's hopeful.
Yeah, it's really hopeful.
And it makes it worth it.
Wow.
Yeah.
We have a little plaque on our bathroom counters. It's the one location we know we will see it every day. And it's a quote from The Silver Chair, one of the Narnian stories. And the children have journeyed into the land of the giants and then into the dark underworld to rescue Prince Rilian. And the end of the story is delightful and redemptive. And the line that's now framed so that we see it every day is, their quest was worth all the pains it cost. I need to be reminded of that
We have to be reminded.
on a pretty regular basis.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Are you guys familiar with, there's a song that Stacy was playing for me the other day, Maverick Music, The Story I'll Tell?
Mm-mm.
The hour is dark and it's hard to see what you are doing here in the ruins and where this will lead. Oh, but I know that down through the years, I look on this moment and see your hand on it and know you were here. And I'll testify of the battles you've won, how you were my portion when there wasn't enough. And I'll testify of the seas that we've crossed, the waters you parted, the ways that I've walked, singing, oh, my God did not fail. Oh, it's the story I'll tell, singing, oh, I know it is well.
it captures it all, doesn't it? The
Yeah.
story is
Yes.
it makes it worth it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my really rough day yesterday is now a story I'll tell of his glory, of his coming.
Mm.
And whether it impacts anybody else or not, it impacts
impacted
my
you.
story.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's the journey of walking with Jesus through your story and through the adventure and through what he has for you, your role in the story.
We must take the adventure that
Yes.
Aslan has for
given.
us.
Yes.
Right? Thanks for coming in. Thanks for your vulnerability, your honesty. It was a richer podcast because of where you went yesterday with Jesus, Lisa. Thank you.
Go figure. But God,
But God.
Yes. Thank you,
Yes.
God. And this wraps up our series, gang. And if you haven't had an interest yet in jumping into the Wild at Heart experience or the Captivating experience, I hope this series did it for you. It's free. It's online at our website, wildatheart.org, and you'll find it right there on the homepage, and you can sign up for it anytime. It's evergreen. You can start it at any point in the year that you'd like to do that. You have a heart, and your heart matters. That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line message. You have a masculine heart, and that heart matters. You have a feminine heart, and that heart matters. And that's why we do what we do here on this podcast. So thanks for listening, friends.